I moved into that quiet suburban neighborhood because I wanted peace. After years of courtroom battles, late nights, and the endless stress that came with being the state attorney general, I just wanted a place where I could breathe. The lake behind the house shimmered in the morning light. Kids rode their bikes on the sidewalks, and on the surface, it looked like the kind of American dream people worked their whole lives for. But the dream started to crack the very first week I moved in. It began with a note taped to my front door. No greeting, no signature, just block letters written in red ink. Remove your mailbox immediately. It doesn't meet HOA standards. I remember standing there, holding the note, looking at my old brass mailbox, a perfectly normal one, and thinking, here we go again. I'd heard stories about overzealous HOAs, but I never imagined mine would turn out like this. I called the HOA office to clarify, but the woman who answered spoke to me like a criminal. "Sir, this is your first warning," she said coldly. "Failure to comply will result in a fine." When I asked her what the standard was, she hung up. It was almost funny at first. I wasn't the type to let a mailbox get under my skin, but I quickly learned it wasn't just about that. Within days, I was getting notices for my grass being too tall. It was freshly cut, and for my American flag being too large. They even cited me for improper lighting on my porch. Then I met her, the HOA president, Karen, mid-50s, stiff posture, sunglasses even on cloudy days. She strutted around like she owned the neighborhood. She stopped in front of my driveway one morning while I was washing my car. "You're new here," she said. "We run things a certain way." I smiled politely. I read the bylaws. "I'm sure we'll get along fine." Her lips tightened. "We'll see about that." And from that moment on, it was war. The notices kept piling up. The tone got nastier. Threats of fines, mandatory inspections, even letters claiming I had violated decorum rules for having guests over. It was like living in a police state governed by retirees with too much free time. Then one night, it all escalated. It was late, maybe 9:30, when I heard loud banging on my door. Not knocking, banging. 3 hard thuds that made my dog bark and my heart skip a beat. I opened the door, and there they were. 2 men in black tactical-style uniforms, badges glinting under the porch light. "Sir," one said sharply, "you're under arrest." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "Step outside," the other barked. "We have an arrest warrant issued by the Homeowners Association." I almost laughed. "You have a what?" The taller one flashed a laminated badge, no department name, just the word enforcement. My training kicked in. I'd spent my career working alongside law enforcement. I knew a fake badge when I saw one. "Which agency are you with?" I asked calmly. "Neighborhood enforcement," he said, "under authority of the HOA board." That's when I realized how deep this nonsense went. They weren't cops. They were hired muscle security guards, probably ex-mall officers, pretending to be law enforcement. But what they didn't know was who they were trying to intimidate. I played along. "Sure," I said. "Let me grab something from inside." I closed the door, locked it, and went straight for my home office. I dialed the county sheriff's direct line. Sheriff Daniels picked up immediately. We'd worked together on several state cases. "Hey, Den," I said, keeping my voice low. "Got a situation at my house." 2 guys pretending to be cops trying to arrest me for an HOA violation. He chuckled at first. Then, when he realized I wasn't joking, his tone changed. "We're on our way. Stay inside." Within 15 minutes, real deputies arrived, lights flashing, sirens off. I watched from the window as they surrounded the 2 fake officers on my lawn. The exchange was short. The real deputies demanded IDs. The fake ones hesitated, then bolted. They didn't make it far. They were tackled within seconds. I stepped outside as the sheriff walked up the driveway. "You weren't kidding," he muttered, shaking his head. They had fake warrants, fake uniforms, fake everything. Karen arrived soon after, like she'd been waiting for the show. She marched over, shouting, "This is a private matter." Those men were authorized by the HOA. The sheriff turned to her, dead serious. "Ma'am, impersonating an officer is a felony. You'd better start talking." She froze, her confidence draining fast. I didn't know they were fake, but she did. I could see it in her eyes. Over the next few hours, the truth came out. Karen and her HOA board had hired a private enforcement team to handle me. They drafted a bogus arrest warrant on HOA letterhead and sent those men to scare me into submission. But they picked the wrong target. The following week, I filed formal charges through my office. Fraud, harassment, impersonation of law enforcement. The list went on. The story exploded in local news. Cameras showed up on the street. Neighbors who once avoided me now waved from their driveways. One older gentleman, Mr. Jacobs, stopped by one morning with coffee. We all knew Karen was power-hungry, he said, but this is next level. I smiled faintly. Sometimes power makes people forget what a line is. When the trial began, I sat quietly in the back, letting my assistant attorney handle the opening arguments. Karen's defense tried to claim it was a misunderstanding, that she thought the men were legitimate officers. But the evidence was overwhelming. Fake uniforms, fake IDs, fake arrest papers. The jury didn't take long. Guilty on all counts. The day the verdict was read, Karen wouldn't even look at me. I wasn't angry anymore, just sad. Because somewhere along the way, she convinced herself that being president of a neighborhood association made her untouchable. After the case ended, the HOA dissolved. The county took over maintenance, and peace slowly returned. Kids played outside again, flags waved freely, and no one left threatening notes anymore. But even with all that behind me, I couldn't shake one thought. How many people had been bullied by people like her? People who thought authority gave them the right to control others? A few months later, I was invited to speak at a community forum about HOA reform. Standing on that stage, I looked out the crowd, homeowners, retirees, young couples, all just wanting a fair say in their own lives. Authority without accountability, I told them, is just tyranny with better stationery. They laughed, but I meant every word. That night, after everyone left, I sat in my truck watching the sunset. The lake shimmered again, just like the first day I had moved in. I thought about everything that had happened, the fake cops, the fear, the absurdity, and I realized something important. Peace isn't something you find. It's something you defend, not with anger, not with revenge, but with truth, law, and the quiet strength of standing your ground. And in that moment, I finally felt what I'd wanted from the start. Peace. Not just in my neighborhood, but inside myself. Because no matter how powerful people think they are, justice always finds its way home.